Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. My name is Liz and this is Let's Get Lizical, where we do everything card making. Today we're going to make an adorable little Valentine's Day card. We're going to use some Doodlebug products. I just showed you the pumpkin and spice set. This is from 2020. I have the coordinating stamp set, but I won't be using it. It does have one, but the images are a little bit smaller and I wanted ones that were a bit bigger, so I'm using this, I think it's called Sweet Treats set. If they're still available, I'll link them down below. I don't think the paper pack will be, but if it is, again, I will link it down below. If not, I'll try to find something similar, and same with the stamp sets. And right now I'm leaving this in just to show you, like, again, how my process changes as we go. And I'm ink blending the front of the card because originally I wanted the card to be a darker color instead of it being white all the time. I wanted to try something a little bit different, but spoiler alert, we go back to a white card. And I think it's because the pattern paper is more colorful than some of the ones that I've used before. Like, sometimes the background of the pattern paper itself is white, so you want that extra color in the background, but this time I think because there's less white in it, I needed more white in the background. So again, this will be switched out to a white card base, but I will use this cardstock for another purpose, which you'll see soon. But today's lesson is, if you don't have it, make it yourself. So I wanted to find a cardstock that coordinated with this originally. I didn't have any in my stash, but I do have a bunch of the Simon's Positively Saturated Ink cubes, which I've purchased over time, and I found a color that coordinated well with this. It looks much darker on screen than it does in person, but it also does dry back quite a bit. This is the color Tropic. It does coordinate actually better with the teal mugs that are on this pattern paper, which is why I picked the color, but right now it just looks really dark and blotchy. Trust me, that's not how it looks. So if you have this, Tropic is a good match. And I, again, didn't have the cardstock color, so I'm making it. I'm also going to make my own embellishments later. So, you know, customize what you don't have. It's really quick and simple to do, depending on what you want to do. And there's just, like, easy ways to do it. I'm also using a Jess Craft 6x6 paper busting template, but I'm not using it the way it's intended. It's intended to not leave paper scraps, but I thought that this time it covered up a little bit too much of the card, so I ended up trimming it down by about 3/4 of an inch. So instead of it being 3 inches wide, it's 2¼ inches. I mean, if you wanted to, you could take that template, instead of doing it to 3-inch panels, you could do 3 2-inch panels also, which would give you 3 cards instead of 2. And then it gives you like a little strip at the bottom that you're supposed to use as like a contrast, or just like to put a sentiment on, or to ground one of your images. But I'm just probably going to get rid of that little piece at the bottom. Sometimes I find her sketches are actually good just to use as sketches, like not necessarily a paper busting template, but like if you have a bunch of random cardstock or prints that you have left over from battered papers, like, they're usually smaller pieces, so it's really good to use up those. I used actually quite a few on the workshop that I did this week, because I put together cute little like packages of images that had like little punny sentiments that were, you know, appropriate for Valentine's Day, and then I kind of cut coordinating papers that went with them. And they were all just like leftover papers that I had from a 12x12 paper pad that I actually bought for making envelopes. Because when you make envelopes for the 4¼ by 5½ inch size cards, you end up with like a 4-inch strip left. If you do the 8x8 size, the board itself recommends, I think, an 8¼ square piece. But I found that if you cut it down to 8 and just use slightly different measurements, it makes it a better envelope, so it's slightly tighter than what they recommend. So I ended up using those scraps, using 3 of her templates, and again, like, they're just super helpful, and you can alter them as you need to. They're just really recommended for using up all your papers without scraps, but I like to use them for my scrap papers as well. And then for the images here, I'm just coloring them based on what's kind of like recommended in the paper pads. So like this little to-go coffee cup, I colored it the same as what's on the pattern paper. My colors are a little bit different, but that's okay. The mug cozy is a little bit more peachy in tone, which is fine because I think it went with the little pink cheeks that I gave to the cup, and it just like looks super cute, so I left it. I do have like this other brown here that probably would have matched a little bit better, but I'm using it for the donut anyway, so I don't want everything to be the same color. They're just gonna blend into one another. And I'm making this a chocolate dip donut because I wasn't sure what else to do it in. It's not my, favorite donut. I'm more of a apple fritter, old-fashioned plain kind of girly. But let me know what kind of donut you guys are into. What's your favorite donut? What do you order? What is your go-to? Let me know. Anyway, so I'm doing, my standard double stamping. Once I'm done coloring, I'm gonna stamp it again. And then I decided that I would use this paper that I ink blended because it coordinates, right? So might as well use it. And I'm just gonna heat emboss the don't know what I would do without you sentiment, which is super cute. And it's like donut, like a donut, not like don't know kind of, It's a cute bunny sentiment and I love it. So that's what we're using. And again, like this pattern paper looks darker on screen, but it does like dry back and it coordinates really well with this cardstock. And once that's done, I'm going to end up cutting it out, and then we're also going to mount all of our images onto the card. I was originally going to do them on like different levels, so I like to like add images so that there's like one in the background, one in the foreground, so you kind of like glue one to the card base, glue one with some foam tape, but I ended up just like putting everything up on foam tape, I think because I put the sentiment here on foam tape and it just kind of like looked weird that the sentiment would be propped up and not the images. So we're gonna do that. I also kind of play around with the layout. I liked the sentiment below the images because it looked better and it allowed for me to add the embellishments that I wanted to add. And we're going to be making those ourselves as well, which is fun, using the same cardstock that I ink blended because again, it coordinates. I was going to pull out another color of cardstock, but I didn't really want to add another color to this palette. I probably could have done maybe like a peachy tone or something, but I might as well use the cardstocks I have already ink blended that coordinate, and I'm going to do that in a second, but I only added the foam tape to the right half of the donut because the other half was just going to stick right on top of the coffee cup. And here I am getting to the embellishments. So I wasn't originally going to show this for today. I was going to save this for another video. But I have these like holographic overlays that are meant for like making your own stickers. I've seen a video where a lady used this kind of like holographic sticker paper on acetate to make a shaker card, which was fun. Which is the reason I purchased this, but then I'm like, oh, I could, make my own like little embellishments. I could add these to die cuts. The Santa that you saw earlier actually has a different type of the holographic paper. The papers come in like 4 different like patterns kind of, so there's like solid, it's just kind of like rainbow, and then it's clear, it just gives you that overall rainbow look. This one is like a confetti one where there's little dots in it. The other ones I have, one is like a fractured background, so it kind of looks like shattered glass in little bits. And I can show a picture of the card I made at the workshop the other day because we used it on like some patterned paper for the backgrounds, and it looked so amazing. On the photo, it looks really weird because it looks like it was like digitally fractured somehow, but it looks really nice in person. And for today, I'm just cutting out some like little heart confettis and using those as accents. I'm also adding glossy accents to the icing of the donut and the eyes to the coffee cup. And I'm just popping some of the bubbles. There was quite a few bubble on this one, but I tried to pop most of the bigger ones. The little ones kind of stayed, but it doesn't bother me too much, so I'm not gonna spend too much time on it. But that's pretty much our card for today, guys. Again, today's lesson was if you don't have it, make it. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment down below, and let me know what your thoughts are, as well as your favorite donut. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please subscribe because I'd love to have you here. And until next time, thanks guys. Bye.